Elizabeth, Countess of Low Carb, and on this episode, we're going to talk intermittent fasting weight loss. How do I cook for my family when I'm fasting? Coming up next. Hey guys, it's Elizabeth, Countess of Low Carb. I have lost a significant amount of weight through intermittent fasting and the ketogenic diet. And on today's episode, we're going to dive in talking about how do I cook for my family while doing this intermittent fasting thing and trying to lose weight. Well, I've got some tips for you, but first, dance your thumbs down and click like, make sure you click subscribe and sign up for my free intermittent fasting weekly schedule and my ketogenic diet meal plan down in the description link below. Now let's dive into the content. So some of y'all have asked me, how have I done intermittent fasting with a family, with cooking for them, since I do a lot of keto meal prep, but how do I do all of that while I'm fasting? It is an awesome question from a viewer, so thank you for asking me. Feel free to put your questions down in the comments below because it may become a video topic. But today I'm gonna talk a little bit about tactile planning. Number one, my solution number one, because I have done this where I've done intermittent fasting and then I cut my fast short while I'm cooking for my family. And my intention today was to do like a 24-hour fast, a 36-hour fast, or whatever. And I cut it a 20-hour fast even, and I cut it short. And I have fasting goals and then I break them. So I've definitely been in your boat. First, let me validate I am not perfect by any means and have learned a lot along the way through my trials and errors. This is not theory, this is my actual experience. My ultimate success tip, and I have 5 total, maybe with a couple of extras in there, but my first one is meal planning. I have a free keto meal plan that's down in the description link below, and I give that away for free so no one has to have any financial issues of having a meal plan figured out. And it takes the mind effort out of doing that, but I digress. Having a plan figured out, I figure out once a week. I'm a tactile person, so I like to write it out. And I also have keto magnets, if you're visual, to put on your refrigerator. If you want to move those, I'll put that in the description link below. But I meal plan. My whole jam is meal planning. So I don't, because I've done it and I don't want to use the word fail. I've learned a really good lesson from my challenges. I've done it and have found that I have to have food prepped. If I'm going to break my fast, I want to have it ready and done, or else A, I'm not going to eat a good choice, or B, I'm going to cut it early, right? If I'm making something fabulous for my family, I have to have that made in advance. Something fabulous will have to be made in advance. And some of those, for example, is I use the Easy Ketogenic Diet Slow Cooking to help figure out slow cooker meals, and then I can just freeze them or have freezer bags. Like I've done a ton of keto meal prep videos, which you can search my channel, right? Go on Countess of Low Carb YouTube and search my channel for those. So I would strongly recommend tip number one, meal plan, have a meal plan, and then meal prep it. If you don't do those things, what I frequently see is people will meal plan, they'll get their meal plan and they're like, yeah, I got my plan. But then the follow through on that, the part 2 on that, is the meal prepping. You have to carve out an hour or 2. You don't have to, but this has been my experience. I have to, I'll speak from the I statements. I have to meal prep it and have it done. For example, if I'm gonna make hamburgers, I'll make them in advance and then freeze them. It's an easy freezer thing to do. I may not put cheese on them. I may, after they're frozen, I'll microwave them, put some cheese on top, put some mayonnaise on top, so you can't really tell that they're frozen, right? Or I'll plan to have for my family, if I'm doing something for them, I wouldn't maybe make them steaks. Like I wouldn't make a delicious, juicy steak. That's one of the things I love to break my fast with. And I can't do that. I just can't do that. So for them, I may plan other things like my keto lasagna I'll make for them because I can freeze that and microwave it. So that's some of the things I find is tip number one is planning it out with my meal planning and meal prepping. Number 2 is parlaying off of that is scheduling. Different personality styles. I'm trained in DISC personality styles. Whatever, there's a lot of different personality style rubrics out there. My personality style is I feel comfortable, safe, and good when things are planned. I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of gal, but at the end of the day for food, I like to have that planned out. Because I like to not, I don't want to cook and then be like, oh, I don't have the ingredient or whatever. So I have figured out my schedule to know when my fasting times are for the week or what my intentions are. Are my intentions always realistic? No, but at least I have some sort of plan in my mind of, oh, I'm running puppy yoga for one of my businesses this week. I'm not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Or, oh, for my other businesses, because I have 7 businesses, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Or my little toddler has a pageant at school and I need to go to that. Like figuring out different schedulings fix my fasting schedule. I make my fasting schedule work around my life, not my life working around my fasting. Does that make sense? Like, I make this a part of a lifestyle, a long-term lifestyle, so 5 years from now, I can still have this be a sustainable way of living. So my tip for you, number 2, was figure out your freaking schedule. Like, just plan it out in advance. Take the 5 minutes, take the 10 minutes on Sunday night or whenever to look at your schedule for the upcoming week and figure out, like, okay, I think on Wednesday I'm gonna do a 16-hour fast. Okay, on Thursday, am I gonna try a 36-hour fast? Or like, figure out whatever your jam is, whatever you, for your personality style, would have success with. Tip number 3 is, if I do have, for some reason, like my plan falls through, which does happen, this is royal weight loss, meets real life, MALDON salt, baby. I will put this in the description link below. If I have to cook for my family while I'm fasting, excuse my broken nail, life has been enriched, haven't gotten them filled. I use these awesome flakes. I pop one under my tongue, and that'll help keep me satiated. It does not break a fast either. Providing electrolytes and providing good salt that we need for our bodies. Animals walk miles to salt licks. We, as mammals, need to have salt. If you're not getting salt in your body, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Get some MALDON salt. And I love MALDON salt because they have these travel tins. They're very, very cool. So it's in the description link below. Is MALDON salts was tip number 3. Tip number 4 is green tea. Some of y'all have asked about this. I love Starbucks. I really do. I love it. I have some guilty pleasures, and Starbucks is one of them. We contribute a lot financially and do a lot of financial donations. Not that I need to explain our financial habits to y'all, but so you know, this is one of my guilty pleasures in life. I have to have my Starbucks every day. I have to. But you could easily make this from home. This is a Trenta, which is big gulp size, iced green tea, no classic, meaning the sugar, and that's what I get. I have gotten more cool containers to make these at home, so I'm not using so much plastic. That is my intention, is to get off my Starbucks kick eventually, but who knows? So I use green tea if I have to cook. I will have this to sip on. I'll have my MALDON salt as like my tactile things if I have to cook. If I have to cook, these are what I use in my arsenal, so to speak. My tools in my tool belt. My green tea from Starbucks and my MALDON salt. So that was, what was that? Tip number 4. I always get confused on the numbers. Tip number 5 is I talk about this in my Crush It with Countess weight loss stall course, which is in the description link below. That course talks a lot about the ketogenic diet, and I parlay some of those tactics of visualization. I've grown million and multi-million-dollar businesses through visualization, and people think it's woo-woo, but it works, and it's helped me lose a significant amount of weight. It's having goal posters, vision boards, things like that. It works. It's not cheesy, it works. So I would suggest to you start doing the visualizations. If you want to know more about that, Crush It with Countess weight loss stall course is down in the description link below. And tip number, what is that? So that was 5. Number 6, 7? What number are we on? Put in the comments what number are we on. I don't know. And I'll have your question of the day for the comments in a minute. Tip number 6, 7 is explaining to my family also when I don't eat. I think that that's important for intermittent fasting. With my 3-year-old, that he understands why mommy is not breaking bread, so to speak, with the family. I think it's important for him to know while he's eating, I want him to eat and feel comfortable and have a healthful relationship with food. Many of y'all know my background of having an eating disorder and a super unhealthy relationship with food. I want to have communication with them as to mommy is doing intermittent fasting right now, and we have a dialogue about that. And he may not care, but I'd rather express it than have him make in his little 3-year-old like assumptions about food. And mommy's doing intermittent fasting right now, so I'm just gonna have my tea while you have your delicious cheeseburger or whatever. You know what I mean? So at least I've said it to him. That has been important for my family values. And it may not be for your life situation, but sharing and gleaning for you for my intermittent fasting weight loss, it's been important to share that with him. Or if I go out with colleagues or friends or things like that, when I'm around that. If I have, and this is your bonus for this intermittent fasting weight loss video, of cooking for your family when you're fasting, I have found that if I have business meetings when I'm doing intermittent fasting, that sometimes I'll share with them, I'm just doing intermittent fasting, I'm just totally content with my tea, but please eat. Please don't feel uncomfortable about eating. I'm happy with my tea and you'd be happy with your meal. You know what I mean? It makes people not feel as uncomfortable, and it helps educate people too. The more people don't really know right now about intermittent fasting. They do, but they don't. The more that we can have conversations about intermittent fasting, the better. Let's talk about this. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to be like shoving from the rooftops about it or whack jobs about it, but I do think having some important conversations and dialogue about this is really, really important for others. So my final tip for you on that is communication with your family. How do you cook for your family while you're doing intermittent fasting? You also share with them. You also share with them what's going on, that they may know, being age appropriate with whatever age they are, but letting them know of what's going on, that you're not eating for an unhealthful reason. In fact, it's for a very, very healthful reason for me as an adult. Is intermittent fasting appropriate for children? Dr. Fung says no. So do I help him not have snacking and things like that? Are we moving towards having meals and structured meals like how they did in the 1950s before this country became morbidly obese? Absolutely. We talk more in our family about not having snacks, about having and getting satiated at mealtime, and talking about that, right? Like, for an age-appropriate level. So hopefully this video has helped you. If you found it helpful, dance your fingers and cha-cha them down to click like, click subscribe to see all things intermittent fasting, all things keto, and sign up for my free weekly Wednesday weight loss intermittent fasting schedule and ketogenic diet meal plan. I'll see you on the next fasting video. Make it a powerful day. Bye, guys.